RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief with Bertie. Obviously today's kind of a can't really do a hell of a lot in the market because it is a Fed day, Fed interest rate decision at 11 a.m. And of course, we know the rule: don't trust anything you see in the market for at least a full hour following that Fed announcement. And you notice that they have their press conference here at about 11:30. Chris, are we up for doing a FOMC broadcast today? What do you think? Should we do one?
I absolutely think we should. Yes.
All right. So be sure to check that out if you're watching this later on. You want to tune in for some comical edutainment while Chappelle is sitting at the podium, or I guess standing at the podium. What did you call him earlier? Should we say that on the air, or should we just keep that private?
Yeah.
Well, let's keep that private.
Big secret, but okay, all right, yeah. Let's keep it private.
Anyway, so it's FOMC day today, so you can't really read too much into price action. And by like 1:30 this afternoon, especially after hours trading and stuff, we'll probably start to see the real move in the market. And that's 1:30 my time. The market closes at 1 o'clock, but of course things like Bitcoin are 24/7. So we should see, especially with regard to crypto, usually once the retail market is closed, then we start to see what the 1%, the bankster crooks and all that, what they want to have happen here with price. But what I would just super caution is don't really trust anything that you see ahead of that event. And also, too, what I'm a little concerned about it is we are seeing a lot of sort of the buy on the rumor. And usually heading into an FOMC announcement date, that's not what you want to see. You want to see the exact opposite. What are you saying there, Michael? Actually, you know what? It was kind of sad. Last night I was sitting on my couch, sort of just sitting there waiting for time to pass for our stock pickers club meeting. And next thing I know, my phone is ringing, and somebody I hadn't heard from in quite a while called me. And I looked up at the clock, and it was like 7:30. I had and our stock pickers club meeting is at 6 o'clock, so I completely missed the meeting last night. Sorry, guys. I actually was kind of pleased to see that one of our OGs who actually recorded the club calls in the past was on the call, and he actually recorded it last night. So I might even, just after we're done the daily brief here, go and listen to that conversation on 2x speed. So I don't really have a lot of sort of stock stuff to talk about. And because we have the FOMC meeting later on today, I think we'll probably, I don't know, do we really need an after party today? I don't think there's really much to talk about elsewhere.
I don't. You think we usually do an after party? We kind of just do a brief intermission before the Fed and get the party kicked off with that.
All right, so there you go. The boss has told us what the plan is. Michael says, nice threads on your formation. What the hell does that mean? And a pack of sharp cookies. Oh, is that in the stock pickers club meeting last night, Michael? I think you're part of that club, and if I understand correctly, you're our frugalor. Is that correct? I think you're also in the hangout here too with us. Anyway, actually, if you got a microphone, Michael, were there any symbols that jumped out at you last night at the meeting? You want to just bark at me, and I'll take a quick peruse of them. I don't know. It's up to you. Anyway, as I said, because we've got a Fed here coming up, I really can't read too much into today's price action. In fact, a lot of people, there's a gentleman that I used to do the crypto shows with when I was running the whole thing on my own. And he used to have a rule, and I think in his trading community now he has a rule that if you see one of these red boxes by a news release day, he just doesn't do anything that day. So I'm cool with that. If you're just like, on a Fed day, I think I'm going to leave everything alone. That's not a terrible idea. In fact, we did the opening range trade today on crude oil. This is a stock market short that I'm working. I love these 78.6 levels. What a beautiful analogy. In fact, this is kind of like that ICT guy setup. I don't know whether it's exactly it, but on balance, I think the premise is basically the same. Where we had overnight lows. The market was working its way. I think it was working its way up, maybe not. Yeah. So the market was working its way higher. First thing this morning, boom, they went and broke all this bullish market structure. So counter trend rallies back up top into reload short zones against original market structure tops. I absolutely love those for trade location. So it shouldn't shock you to see this. It's these are micros. I let two go, as you can see, and I think before we were started recording, I was barking about, "Where's my fill? Where's my fill?" So I got one of them. I bought one of them back here at 2-to-1 risk reward. So I just have one trailer on here, and now if I do get stopped out on some blow off to top to new highs, it's a scratch day. It's no big deal. Having said that, heading into the FOMC here in about, the decision is at 11 o'clock. This morning, actually, I had on a short in the crude pits here this morning. Same sort of premise. And actually, I think this was a better example of that ICT concept. Higher highs and higher lows defines bullish structure. I noticed that I had a nice little double bottom that came in here, and I think this actually showed up on like the 5-minute chart. That was this sort of swing low here. They busted that out, so I like laser beam was watching for this 78.6, hit it, and then because today is a Wednesday, it means that there's an EIA report that comes out, Energy Information Administration, US government, all that kind of stuff. But just basically, what are the inventories that people are running? And we have a general rule, especially when I was officially prop trading. Right now, I'm just back in their sort of tryout phase. But when I was with them, absolutely, it was cardinal rule. You had to close out all positions 10 minutes before any major econs. And if you were a crude oil trader, you had to close this out. So no choice. Anyway, it was a cute little trade. I mean, nothing really startling. And then, interestingly enough, following the EIA report, we had a run up. And actually, I think if we go back to the 1 minute, you see this a little better. On the EIA report, there was a huge spike higher. And I was like, well, if we, and then a pullback, and we came back. Actually, this is an interesting example because we did not break this bullish structure here on this dump here. So actually, it's not a big surprise that this 78.6 fail. And really, I just wanted to risk like a minimal amount of ticks here. But this 78.6, it did not hold. Anyway, market ran to new highs, then pulled back. We broke through this low. So I was kind of like, well, this is marginal ICT kind of idea. Maybe even not, because we are basically beyond the time frame that guy likes to take his trades. But, good old 78.6. I'm just sim trading. So I was like, hey, you know what? These are the levels that I hit. So I hit it. And interesting how we came within one tick. I'm actually quite surprised I didn't get stopped there, but never got a fill on the stop. And then she went and topped out, and actually now it's starting to work in the favor. So same sort of logic as that ES trade here. Let one go or two go there at the 78.6, have your stop working. Again, I'm a little surprised I didn't get stopped there, but okay. And what I'm looking for is 2-to-1 there. See if I can get a fill on that dump. Maybe it comes. Nice bearish structure working now. And if that does get filled, it's doubtful right now. But if that does get filled, then just stop to scratch, or maybe even just leave the stop where it is and just see what happens where the wind takes you. As we get closer to that 11 o'clock window, I might just take this off here, and you can see I'm not risking a hell of a lot of money on this. So it's just fun little trades, nice demos, and I just I'm supposed to be the demonstrator of best practices, so. Should you be surprised if you see Brian's hitting 78.6s? I mean, this is religion, Brian's favorite fib, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think it should surprise anybody. Looking at the broader market here today, again, just, doing sort of just really a whole bunch of small little trades on micro contracts and stuff just to fill the time waiting for the Fed. Stock market, just banging along sideways here, waiting for the Fed. Interesting how the Dow came off a bit there, sort of that helped that short idea a little bit. NASDAQ working its way a bit higher. NASDAQ stocks look really bullish. Microsoft, somebody came out with a $600 price target on Microsoft, making it something like a $6 trillion company. If it does hit those highs, that sounds a little bit fluffy. And if anything, on that sort of big headline event, probably people were buying into that report going to be released. And then the report was released, and you probably see Microsoft sell off now. US dollar probably going to be the biggest mover here through this Fed announcement. And, not a heck of a lot has changed here since we had this conversation yesterday. On a 4-hour basis, top end of your range, bottom end of your range. That was that Darth Maul candle that we made reference to yesterday. There to there, and you can see over the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 4 is 8 times 2 is 16, so 32 hours. We've done absolutely nothing here. My hunch is following the Fed announcement, you should see this resolve itself. Don't be surprised in that first hour and then through the Fed press conference that they even go and wash some of these weak highs and lows just for some easy liquidity. And when we do the Fed meeting, we'll have fun just sort of watching the fireworks off of the lower time frame charts. So keep your eyes peeled for that later on. As it stands right now, if we get a move through this low way down here, we will get a 3-bar fractal sell signal, and that'll be below moving averages. And you can see there is actually a market structure top working off of this low right here. That's 103.879. So if I was going to be biased heading into this meeting right now, it actually looks like the bears got the balls. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. Looking at obviously this audience very interested in crypto and the corn and the whole market was looking very, very weak, kind of I guess heading into the overnight session. Was interesting. Stewart, of course, was on the call yesterday talking a little bit about how the French government now is going to officially mandate that there be a French stable coin, because there's no way in hell the French are going to use some goddamn English bastards assets to invest in. So I mean, tongue in cheek, I mean, if you know the French, that's the way that they operate. What I would just simply say is, you kind of heard the bluster out of Joey Diamond and that Elizabeth Warren. And, if anybody should be investigated, Stewart told us yesterday that, and you can Google it, find the information, U.S. senator salaries, which are pretty damn good, like 250 fucking grand a year or something for doing not a hell of a lot. Her net worth is in the $50+ million. How does that work? I mean, she's basically a career politician. She's been in politics her whole life. It just shows how utterly and completely corrupt this whole system is. And if anybody should be investigated in this world, it's a politician that has a $250,000 a year salary, but has a net worth of $50-60 million. Something just does not smell right about that. But anyway, point being, recently, her and Joey, and of course, Joey's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever. But they did this funny little dance in front of the whole American audience, basically saying that the American government should crack down on crypto. Well, I can tell you absolutely without a shadow of a doubt, if the French government is floating their own version of stable coins, crypto is global here. Whatever the Americans do, if they go and pull a stupid stunt like outlaw crypto, the whole damn world is just going to leave them behind. So my hunch is they're not going to do that. And my hunch is there was some sort of ulterior motive. Something is going on in the background there. And it's just smacks of how corrupt this whole society is that we live in. It's just stunning how corrupt it is. So, anyway, really good analogy of something stinks about all this. Having said that, did we have any econs or anything that really sort of moved the market here heading into the Fed today? Well, we had some inflationary data come out here this morning. I wouldn't call this huge. I mean, you had a huge negative print last month on the PPI, which stands for Producer Price Index. And this month, actually, the market was looking for an uptick and it came in flat. Okay. I guess that's disinflationary. Is that how we're labeling this? I think, these guys, I think they had it tapped pretty well. You know, I think the general consensus is the Fed's going to temper expectations of earlier rate cuts than what the market's sort of hoping for and what maybe they've priced in. And then I've said repeatedly, I can't see how there's any way in hell that they can go and let's see, where's the best place to show it? Well, a semiconductor is probably perfectly good. Semiconductor is supposed to be the ultimate leading indicator in our society and in the stock market. And hello, is that semiconductor index at a new all-time high? So you can see yesterday I was conjecturing with you guys whether this would turn into some sort of fractal top here over the next few days. And the fact that, yeah, we've got a bit of divergence here building. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is some sort of top. But there's no way in hell the Fed's going to even think about lowering interest rates in the face of that. That's just uber bullish. So I get the feeling that investors are actually setting themselves up for a little bit of disappointment here today. I don't think the Fed's going to really say anything that's anything different than what they've been saying over the past month or two. Inflation data that did come out this morning, I would call it benign. But, you look at good old crude oil inventories, and just remember that inventories, they're going to be a fundamental piece of information. They are going to be, if inventories are falling, then that means that there's increased demand and reduced supply. And any of you, economics 101 experts, when you have reduced supply and increased demand, which way does price go? So that's actually an anecdote of an actually fairly strong economy. It's interesting how crude oil inventories now have actually been trending down since the beginning part of November. And what's interesting about this is, the question is why? Why is price falling even though inventories are falling? Something's not right here. And from what I understand, the scuttlebutt is that the Saudis are actually a little bit upset that the American oil industry is booming right now. And I did find it interesting that Mr. Trump was interviewed the other day. Are you going to become a despot? Are you our new king, sir? And he said, I'm only going to do it for one day. But on day one, I'm going to close all the borders. So if you want to visit the United States, you better get that done before the election. And number two, I'm going to turn the spigots on. Or I guess he said drill. Drill, 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 drill. The irony of it all is I think they're actually already drilling like crazy in North Dakota. And I think that guys like Biden have said, you know what, because he caught a lot of shit about the way oil prices were zooming up there. And I mean, it's such a hypocrisy because the world's swimming in oil. You got all these OPEC countries that all produce way too much. They're always cheating. I told you Canada is the second largest oil deposits in the world, except we got some sort of commie dictator here who's basically absolutely hates the oil sector of our society, and it runs in his DNA. His father was exactly the same way. So it's not like we don't have enough oil in the world. And the irony of it all is all these greenies and, fucking Greta people and all that. They don't realize that if the West goes and starts cutting production and starts cutting supply, you're going to have countries like Venezuela. And how good are they at being environmentally friendly? How about human rights? How about freedom of speech? Those people are actually going to do great. Look at Russia. Russia loves the fact that Greta is, getting all the West to close down oil production, and toilet water guy is killing the Canadian oil industry here. But if you actually want like workers to have better lives, if you actually want clean energy, you should be promoting the Western societies to produce the clean energy with workers' rights and fair wages and all that kind of crap, and not just downloading it onto all these OPEC nations, because they don't give a fuck. They'll kill you in a heartbeat if it serves their purposes. And do you really think a guy in the middle of fucking Russia gives a flying flute about global warming? Come on. So anyway, there's a nice fat rant for you. Throw all that in. But anyway, I would just simply say that Biden finally balked because, the American public was starting to get pretty pissed off at him. And he turned on the North Dakota or the Balkans oil spigots like crazy. And so as a result, they're producing oil like crazy. And as I said, the scuttlebutt is that the Saudis actually want to drive oil prices down to try and encourage those Dakota oil producers back into bankruptcy and not make it economically affordable for them to be into production. That's what the scuttlebutt is, and that's sort of why they're sort of blaming why oil prices are falling. But if you actually look at this image right now, that actually fundamentally is bullish of oil prices, not bearish. So I do find that fascinating. And then also, too, I would say that this is bullish of the economy, not bearish. People are using the oil. They are consuming it. Inventories are being drawn down. They don't get drawn down because people like to take baths in oil. They get drawn down because people are driving more. So anyway, rant. What I would just simply say is I wouldn't be surprised. I guess it really all depends on how serious the Saudis are here. But I wouldn't be surprised at some point if the Saudis do actually block it all. You might find that oil prices go zooming right back up with this kind of oil inventory information. Again, that's pretty strong, and I don't think that the Fed can cut rates in the face of that. If anything, they're probably also saying, why is oil prices so weak right now? Anyway, rant. Hope you enjoyed all that. Brett, still pointing up. I mean, we haven't broken down, but you can see the fast made a lower high here on the S&P 500. I was encouraged to see that crypto got out of that danger zone in the short term. So we had a little bit of a correction there in crypto prices. That knocked the histogram back out of that ridiculously overbought condition. Whenever you see that, and this is just really good information for you, because we do this free broadcast and it is live. Hopefully you've seen, we had back at the end of October there, we had all the country funds all heavily oversold in the short term, heavily oversold in the medium term. And what did the stock market do? It went booming straight up. So the fact that this was heavily overbought on the short and medium term was a bit concerning there the other day. I think on balance, the crypto market is stabilizing to a certain degree, and there are some names that were pretty high flyers recently that are kind of coming down to earth. Quick boo at the corn, and then we'll sort of wind this up. I wouldn't be surprised if the corn catches a bit of a bid. Like I said, the whole market here is trying to lift. The bonds are very happy. on that PPI data. So that's encouraging. I suppose the bonds are probably also happy on the crude oil market. But interesting, we got a little bit of disconnect there too. You got the bonds rallying and crude oil rallying at the same time. Something doesn't smell right there. Is there some shenanigans going on ahead of this Fed? I think so. That's what this feels like. So again, probably a good idea. Don't trust what you see in the market here until a full hour following that Fed announcement. Having said that, looking at crypto, as I said, that we had kind of a soft market there over the past day or so. You can see overnight the market did firm up quite a bit. We put W's in both things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, Litecoin as sort of our altcoin, small cap, junior market proxy. He put in a bit of a sloppy W, not nearly as good looking as like Bitcoin here, but nonetheless, W's are W's. Do we go and M out here? Way too early to say. It's interesting to see Bitcoin dominance breaking out through the top. So Bitcoin is outperforming the little ones, and you can kind of see that. There was Bitcoin's overnight high, and here we are now, versus Litecoin's overnight high, and we haven't even recaptured that yet. So not surprising, Bitcoin dominance is breaking out. But interesting to see that the total crypto market cap, there is that W. Notice that the Ethereum chart and this total chart look very similar. It is sort of forging higher highs and higher lows, defines a bull. So on balance, I think the market's relatively happy. We had talked yesterday. I was a little bit concerned about these divergences that were potentially coming in. And look at this. Look how close we came. So here's today's print. And of course, following the Fed, who knows what the hell this is going to look like. But if we go and print this MACD histogram, and this number here, for whatever it's worth, is minus 388. And right now, today's low is minus 272. If we go and print a low below that 388, 389 minus 390 minus 400, whatever, then that means that the bear div is confirmed. And that means if we're bulls, we better cool our jets. So it hasn't come in yet. We're humming and hawing here. That is interesting how yesterday I had pointed out that it looked to me like we were in a trading range. And this is actually an inside bar. In fact, actually, candlestick people, I don't like to call it this, but candlestick people would call this harami. Baby is inside mummy's body. And actually, maybe let's just be very clear about this. 41,242 is the close there. 41,232 is the open. So it's exactly the same. I don't know whether, did I say that right? Let's try that again. 242, and we opened 232. Beg your pardon. Good heavens, Brian, get your act together. So this is not harami. Actually, this open is slightly lower. Let's see if we can zoom that in. Yeah, there it is. So you can see this open is slightly lower than that close. So we can't even call that harami. And also too, oh, hello. Who can tell me what is what's the statistical probability that that hole in the price charts needs to be filled in? And you all know the answer to that. So color me skeptical. I thought this was an inside bar. I'm not, honestly, I mean, you can't even call it harami here. I guess you can call it an inside bar because technically both the tail and the wick are inside the previous bar's range. Not the prettiest of range, but I did say yesterday that what I thought after this candle was printed, and you can even see I had the high end here, I thought that we were stuck in a trading range. And my hunch is this probably resolves following the Fed. So, an hour following the Fed, if you see price back above this level, then that's probably telling you that we've accepted back harami. Remember our conversation yesterday about 13 EMA? So this was a real debate because we did have two consecutive closes below the 13 EMA. I'm actually pretty surprised that this thing's been able to rally back up top here. But I just wonder whether this rally is happening in the vacuum of the pre-FOMC market. So what a surprise. Here we are sitting right at that high. I suppose if we drill down to a lower time frame chart, where you look at that. So we did something here. Looks like 6973 must have gotten, did I get, well, let's see what the hell happened over there. All right. Hey, look at that. So the crude oil 2-to-1 trade was just filled. Nice. Now this is just hit that damn Brian's favorite fib level. Isn't that remarkable how that crap works? Look at that beautiful M top. In fact, just basically off of this top, you can actually start drawing fog bombs. So we could go boom. There you go. So your target really should be 2.618 down in here. And then if this thing really does start falling apart and these huge M's start to confirm, then I would think a revisit of Chris's overnight lows would be in order. So anyway, that's an interesting image. And now on this fill right here on this guy, I think I'll just leave the stop there. And if I get stopped out on this other one, so what? It's not that big of a deal. But actually a really good demonstration for you guys. Next, let's see how our stock market short's going. Oh, nice. So we had this 78.6. I think the theme of today's video is 78.6s for the win. So we got our fill there, 2-to-1. If we do get stopped out at new highs, so what? We made enough on this one car to easily offset any damage done on the other one. And I suppose we could probably do fog and bombs off of this as well, right? We got a top here. Down to these lows. Interesting. So where I took profits was exactly at 2.618. That was a smart move. Way to go, Brian. And if this thing does fall apart here, 4.669s are all the way down in here. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, that's nice to see. Okay, back to our crypto summary here. Okay, there's your chart. So remember we talked off the higher time frames. Were we going to accept 2 consecutive bars below that 13 EMA? Was the bearish divergences going to confirm? And it looks to me like actually interesting. I missed our meeting last night because this is so David. This to me looks like an Adam and Steve. Steve, as you can see, has got a little bit of equipment here. And then you know what these things are here. You get the idea. Sometimes we label these Adam and Eve, and I guess, but that actually looks like a lower low. So as a result, I think you have to go Steve. Anyway, that's a market that is trying to bottom. And I suppose you could argue for all you lower time frame players, this also could be interpreted as a cup and handle. So, boom. Yeah, we'll go off clotheslines there. So there's your cup. And this is your handle. It's a cute little handle. It's not much, just a little one. There we go. So that's kind of what I see happening out of the corn. And I think, this is really going to be predicated, of course, on all the fireworks around the Fed and all that. But it does look like in the short term, she's trying to point back up. Interesting on this 30-minute chart, notice we have the 200 SMA. And I would actually argue horizontal support and resistance, that's a key level. And that's a key level because actually this is a new market structure top right up here. So color me skeptical. If anything, what I would prefer to see is get your butt up here and maybe let's put some bullish structure up there. Having said that, if you were aggressive and you wanted to hunt a W right in here, it's not a terrible trade, but that's for all the traders in the community. This is a stamp chart. You probably want to go look at your individual, crypto, proxies. Do you trade I think MEX has the perpetuals now that seem to be really popular. I suppose KuCoin probably also has leverage product, Bybit, all those. So just check those charts and see whether you actually have setups forming. Me right here, right now, I would never take a trade right here. This isn't a good level for me. I'm just trying to sort of mentally try to wrap my head around what could potentially be forming here. So there's sort of your market. I don't really like the higher time frame trade location. This isn't really something that would jazz me. If anything, what I'd be worried about is does that bearish divergence confirm on any kind of weakness here? And if it does, then as a bull, you just got to leave it alone until those divs clean themselves up. Heading on over to things like altcoins. Chris and I were very interested in doing a trading plan off of this BNT. We were kind of hoping that it would zip back down here into this 88.6 against these original market structure lows. And you can see it sure looks like she wants to head that way. So as a good example of an altcoin that I do want to buy, we're just going to be patient and disciplined and just wait for some sort of visit back down against these lows. And I think you're seeing that on a few names. Now, what's the one part of the market that seems to be bucking the overall trend? If you've been tuned in to good old Sjord's Panacook report yesterday, you heard that Panacooks are hot. And I tell you, Sjord's list of names, God, you just don't get in this guy's way because his picks are just on fire of late. Where is his list? I don't know, one of these screens. You can see all the Trex names are all dying. Nope, not there. Where the hell did I put it? Did I just go by it? Anyway, I wanted to show you that one of his names, ran up to new highs again today. And it's just absolutely incredible. And I think he said he established a risk-free trade on one of his names, which is super exciting. It's not that list. Oh, I thought I had it over here. Sorry, everyone. Caught with her pants down, watching too much stuff. What time is it? 39. Yeah, we should probably wind this up here pretty shortly. There we go. Look at it. Here's a Sjord. Just at it again. And this is a really cool anecdote of things like fog and bombs. So notice how we put in the market structure bottom. I mean, I hope you can learn from this. So awesome and incredibly how powerful this is. So your initial objective should be a move up to 2.618. So you can see, room up we went to 2.618. And usually what ends up happening is you have sort of a question mark. Well, do we really want to move forward? And usually there has to be a bit of a consolidation. So you can see the consolidation around the 2.618. Then we broke out, and where are we going to go next? Next stop, 4.669. And notice up we go to 4.669. Again, do we want to consolidate? Do we want to maybe just ask whether we really want to be here? Notice when we consolidated and pulled back, look how the low came to just above that 2.618 level. And it held above that and then put in a bottom. So are we going to resolve higher? Next stop, 877s. And lo and behold, room straight up to 877. Isn't that incredible? I tell you, man. This was a gift. This is our Brian. Hey, you're going to continually broadcast. You're going to continue to try to help the world. So the universe is going to give you a treat. And through this whole COVID nonsense, insanity, 1% trying to take over the world and lock us all in our cages, the good Lord taught me chaos theory and how to interpret chaos theory. So what the hell? I think that's a pretty good exchange. I now have this skill set for the rest of my life. Hopefully, I'm passing it on to the public, and all of you are watching this too. Damn, I mean, incredibly powerful information. So here we are at 877s. What do you think the odds are? Maybe we should do a bit of consolidating here. I think so. And as I said, Sjord, like a boss, he's actually shotting, and he's shotting some big numbers here. You know, some of his trades are in the, the 5-figure numbers. That's how big these trades are. And good old Sjord just knocked off. Now we have a risk-free position in this thing forever. And if anything, the irony of it all is what I would say is after this short-term euphoria is done, draw your reload zones. And my hunch is he should be able to go and look at that. 78.6. Actually, I guess I already did this study. That's why they overlap, because you already did the damn study. Anyway, 78.6s. I wouldn't be surprised if we could go buy the whole damn thing all back there down around $2 or $3. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. But anyway, great job, Sjord. Big hats off to you. And of course, we published this to our pro package subscribers. If you want the list of fundamentally appropriate names that I think I have yet to meet a better analyst in the crypto space than good old Stewart. Not that I'm slightly biased or not, but I tell you, his picks are they're just gold. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, look at them. Look at that thing. Oh, Jesus. I mean, are these things even done going up? I mean, this guy looks like he's a little bit done, but look at these moves. Do you want to know what's yours interested in? I want to know. Thankfully, I've got him on the inside. Actually, this one's just starting to get going here for him. So anyway, another good example of 2.618 there, right? Okay, I think we'll leave the broadcast at that for today. Slow and steady wins a race, but you can see there's a bit of red coming into this crypto space here, so be careful. For God's sakes, people, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase, don't chase. You know how this thing goes. And of course, we should probably be talking a little bit about it, but I'll just do a very quick plug here. New school term starts in January. And if you want to get your act together, get your skirt together, get a plan formulated, try and figure out what a half decent trade idea looks like, location, indicator confirmation, price structure, go. Try and figure out what type of risk taker you are. Are you a little old lady? Are you a margin trader? Are you a derivatives trader? Are you a Joe six pack? Where do you want to go in your life? Get your strategic plan up and running. Try and articulate exactly what's going to get you to act in the marketplace, and then build all the tools to see whether you can actually do what you said you're going to do, and monitor yourself. Get your butt in the school. Ridiculously cheap, absolutely worth every penny. And frankly speaking, I haven't seen another education program on the net that even holds a candle to what we do. So there's your sales pitch. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins a race. All the best. We'll see everybody for the Fed meeting in about an hour and a half or so. The only thing left for Brian to say to you good people at this point is bye for now.